To the new FDA warning about recalled eggs from Costco over salmonella risk, the agency now raising the alert to the highest level.
You think you're cracking open a fresh start to your morning. Maybe it's that satisfying thunk of the egg carton hitting your shopping cart. Maybe it's the rustic-looking packaging that screams farm fresh, or the smiling chicken cartoon telling you these eggs live their best life. But behind those neatly stacked cartons is a dangerous truth that most stores hope you never see. Because when it comes to eggs in 2025, your breakfast might come with a bacteria bonus. Welcome to Frugal Pro. And today, we're exposing 6 grocery stores where you should never buy eggs. We're talking about cracked shells, moldy cartons, broken cold chains, and enough supplier sleight of hand to make your sunny side ups turn seriously shady. By the end of this video, you'll know which stores are gambling with your health, your wallet, and your scrambled eggs. Let's crack it wide open, starting with a chain where the eggs are cheap, but the consequences aren't. Number 6, Dollar General, where eggs go to die. On paper, Dollar General's egg prices look like a win. You stroll in, grab a dozen for pocket change, and feel like you just outsmarted the system. But step behind the scenes, and you'll find a cold storage nightmare with more red flags than a dozen defective shells. According to a 2023 USDA report, over 75% of Dollar General stores inspected failed basic refrigeration standards for perishables like eggs. That means entire sections of the store with cooling units that don't cool, eggs sitting at room temperature, and staff who are more likely to be restocking candy than checking expiration dates. In one viral video, a shopper documented eggs sitting on an end cap display, completely unrefrigerated, for hours. No staff in sight, no cold air anywhere, just warm eggs sweating under fluorescent lighting like they owed back taxes. And it gets worse. Dollar General often sources eggs through what are called opportunity distributors, a fancy term for companies selling food that's nearing its expiration date or was rejected by other retailers. One anonymous supply chain worker described Dollar General's egg supply as a black hole of traceability. Translation: no one really knows where these eggs came from or how long they've been in transit. That means your carton could have been sitting in a warehouse for days, bouncing between trucks like a protein-packed pinball before landing on a warm shelf next to the discount canned soup. Customers have shared horror stories too. Photos of repackaged eggs with cracks covered in tape, cartons with dried yolk on the outside, and in one truly stomach-turning case, a live insect crawling inside a sealed carton. That's not breakfast, that's a horror movie. Even the packaging is bargain bin awful. Most Dollar General eggs come in ultra-thin foam or plastic containers, offering next to no insulation or protection. If the cooler goes warm for even an hour, those cartons sweat, leak, and break down, creating the perfect environment for bacterial growth. Let's talk numbers. Eggs are only about 10 to 15% cheaper than what you'd find at a normal grocery store. So, what are you really saving? A few cents? And you're trading that for refrigeration roulette and egg cartons that look like they lost a bar fight? Add Dollar General's notoriously low staffing levels into the mix. Some stores operate with just 1 or 2 employees total, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Who's monitoring temps? Who's rotating stock? Who even has time to notice when a carton of eggs starts to smell like a swamp? Eggs are a high-risk food. They need stable, cold storage and careful handling. Dollar General offers neither. So unless you're in the market for cracked shells, questionable sourcing, and a side of salmonella, skip the savings and get your eggs somewhere that actually respects your digestive system. And if you think that was bad, wait till you see what happens when a premium store charges you triple the price for the exact same shell game. Number 5. Whole Foods, organic price, industrial secrets. If Dollar General's egg aisle feels like a food safety dice roll, Whole Foods is the opposite illusion. Upscale lighting, recycled paper labels, and rustic signage that practically whispers, "Our chickens do yoga and journal about gratitude." But just because the carton says pasture-raised doesn't mean the hen ever saw a single blade of grass. And just because you're paying triple doesn't mean you're getting better eggs. Just better marketing. Back in 2019, an investigative report blew the lid off several Whole Foods egg suppliers who claimed to sell pasture-raised organic eggs. What reporters actually found were massive industrial farms, where chickens were packed into metal sheds with tiny doors leading to narrow outdoor pens. Pens most birds never even reached. That's not a pasture. That's a legal loophole with a few wood chips thrown on top. In one case, over 100,000 birds were crammed into a facility with access to a pasture that was smaller than the average backyard. Imagine calling your closet a national park just because it has a window. Yet Whole Foods continues to charge 2 to 3 times more than typical stores for these eggs. You're not paying for better quality, you're paying for storytelling. And what about flavor? In blind taste tests conducted in 2022, Whole Foods eggs scored no higher than mid-tier supermarket brands. Some testers even described the eggs as watery, flat, and indistinct. That extra $2 didn't buy richer yolks. It bought disappointment. Packaging isn't much better. Despite all the talk of sustainability, several Whole Foods locations have been caught using plastic cartons labeled eco-friendly that were actually made from virgin plastic. Greenwashing at its finest. And let's talk rotation. In 2020, stores in multiple states were cited for improper stock rotation. Shoppers were unknowingly grabbing older eggs hidden behind newer ones, leading to surprise encounters with faded yolks and sulfurous smells. That's not a breakfast win, that's a reverse lottery. Even employees have gone on record. One former stocker described the egg section as a box-checking operation, saying, "We hit the organic and cage-free labels, but no one really checked freshness. It was more about moving product than monitoring quality. And if something goes wrong, good luck." Whole Foods has a reputation for vague responses, redirection, and corporate copy-paste apologies. Customers have reported expired eggs, cracked cartons, and even broken seals, only to be met with a shrug and a gift card. So, next time you pick up a $6 carton of ethically lit faux farm eggs and tell yourself you're doing something good, remember, you're not buying freshness, you're buying a fairy tale. And up next, a store you probably do trust. And that's exactly the problem. Number 4. Kroger, where quality goes to hide behind a name. Kroger likes to play the middle ground. It's not a discount dump like Dollar General, and it's not pretending to be a farm-to-table utopia like Whole Foods. It's your everyday, safe grocery option, or so it wants you to believe. But when it comes to eggs, Kroger's name brand reliability hides a crack-filled mess of inconsistent quality, poor storage, and a supplier shuffle that makes tracing problems nearly impossible. First off, let's talk about freshness, or the illusion of it. In a 2022 regional audit, multiple Kroger locations were found stocking eggs past their printed expiration dates, tucked behind newer cartons like a breakfast booby trap. It wasn't isolated either. Customers across several states reported runny whites, flat yolks, and that unmistakable sulfur smell the moment they cracked the shell. One reviewer described their purchase as an egg carton full of betrayal. But it's not just the age, it's the handling. Shoppers frequently report finding Kroger egg displays that feel warm to the touch. That's a problem. Eggs need to be stored below 40 degrees Fahrenheit at all times. Anything higher, and you're giving bacteria like Salmonella a front row seat to your breakfast. A consumer investigation in 2023 used temperature guns at 30 Kroger stores across 5 states. Nearly a third of those locations had egg cases above 45 degrees. That's not a slight variation, that's a bacterial playground. And the packaging? Kroger uses a mix of pulp and plastic cartons depending on the brand. The cheaper pulp cartons, the gray, papery ones, are notorious for soaking up any moisture and collapsing under pressure. Even a minor bump in your cart can leave you with a leaking mess and a smell that sticks to your fridge like regret. Some cartons even lacked expiration dates on top, forcing shoppers to flip the container over and hunt for the fine print, like they're decoding a mystery novel. Let's not forget about supplier inconsistency. Kroger rotates its egg suppliers frequently, depending on pricing, volume, and contracts. That means the eggs you bought last week might not be from the same farm or facility as this week's, and those changes are rarely transparent. You might think you're buying from a local farm because the label says Midwest Fresh, but in reality, it could be a giant industrial complex in Iowa with a slick name. One former Kroger employee shared, "We got pallets in from 4 different suppliers one week. There was no communication about where they came from. Just stack, rotate, and don't ask questions. And if you ever need to return a bad batch, good luck." Customers report long lines, indifferent staff, and inconsistent refund policies. One woman posted online that she returned a cracked carton, only to be told she could exchange it, but only for eggs from the same batch, which she had just complained about. That's not customer service. That's culinary gaslighting. The bottom line? Kroger wants the reputation of a quality brand without putting in the systems to back it up. Their egg department is a patchwork of shortcuts, supplier roulette, and customer neglect, all wrapped in a familiar logo. Next up, a warehouse giant loved for bulk savings and free samples. But if you've bought eggs here lately, you might be storing more than breakfast in your fridge. 3. Costco. Big boxes, bigger egg problems. Costco is where frugal dreams come true. Giant carts, jumbo savings, that hypnotic smell of rotisserie chicken wafting from the back. But when it comes to eggs, even this retail giant has some serious cracks in the shell, and not the kind you can see coming. In 2024, the FDA issued a Class I recall, the highest level, for Costco's Kirkland Signature organic pasture-raised eggs, distributed by Handsome Brook Farms. More than 10,000 cartons were pulled from stores across Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas due to Salmonella contamination. Let that sink in. A product labeled as organic, pasture-raised, and premium was officially deemed a reasonable probability to cause serious health consequences or death by the FDA. And if you think that sounds dramatic, it's not. Salmonella doesn't care about brand reputation. One cracked egg, one missed temperature check, and suddenly you're dealing with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and severe dehydration, or worse. The recalled cartons were sold in 24-count packs, meaning one bad batch could affect thousands of families. This isn't ancient history. This is Costco right now. Why does it happen? Because Costco's model prioritizes bulk volume over cold chain precision. Their egg displays are often open air with minimal airflow, making it easy for temperature-sensitive items to drift above the safe zone. In a separate 2023 audit across 20 Costco locations, over a third had egg cases registering above 45 degrees Fahrenheit, with some as high as 49 degrees, far above the FDA's safety threshold of 40 degrees. And the packaging? Thin plastic trays, giant stackable flats, great for pallet efficiency, terrible for protection against damage and heat exposure. One shopper described their experience as carton soup with a protein surprise. Kirkland Signature might sound consistent, but sourcing isn't. The producers behind those eggs change frequently based on region and cost, meaning your carton could come from a small farm one week and a warehouse full of stressed, overcrowded hens the next. And when things go wrong, Costco's famously no questions asked return policy can turn foggy real quick when you're returning spoiled eggs, especially during peak hours. Multiple customers reported pushback, delays, and staff who didn't even know about the recall. Here's the hard truth. Costco's eggs look clean, sound ethical, and feel safe. But when even the FDA sounds the alarm, it's time to stop assuming and start checking. Because when the stakes are salmonella and you're buying in bulk, one slip-up doesn't just spoil breakfast, it risks everything. Next up, a chain that costs more and delivers less, with recalls that disappear like a poached egg in hot water. Number 2, Safeway, polished aisles, rotten results. Safeway is the grocery store equivalent of a buttoned-up office manager. Tidy, inoffensive, and pretending everything is under control. But if you peek behind the clean aisles and sterile lighting, you'll find a disturbing pattern of quiet recalls, neglected freshness, and egg safety issues that turn your morning omelet into a potential health hazard. Let's start with the recalls. In 2019, a salmonella outbreak linked to one of Safeway's egg suppliers triggered a multi-state recall. Sounds serious, right? Except most shoppers never heard about it. Why? Because Safeway chose to bury the recall online, tucked into a rarely visited corner of their website. No signs in-store, no alerts through loyalty apps, nothing. One mother only found out when her child got sick and a doctor traced the illness back to tainted eggs. When she called the store, the manager replied, "We posted it online. That's like yelling fire into a pillow." Safeway technically meets the legal minimum for recall announcements. But when it comes to customer safety, the legal minimum is nowhere near enough. A 2022 Consumer Watchdog survey found that less than 15% of Safeway shoppers were aware of egg recalls, even when they occurred during peak sales weeks. And then there's the stock rotation problem. In multiple Safeway locations, customers have reported finding expired eggs still sitting on shelves, sometimes as much as a week past the sell-by date. Even if expired eggs don't always make you sick, their quality takes a nosedive. Watery whites, weak yolks, sulfur smell. It's not breakfast, it's biological roulette. The packaging doesn't help either. Safeway frequently uses low-cost pulp cartons, the gray ones that absorb moisture and disintegrate if you so much as breathe on them wrong. Combine that with overcrowded displays and inconsistent refrigeration, and you've got a fridge section that feels more like a game of egg Jenga. And good luck getting help in store. Many Safeway locations run on skeleton crews, especially early mornings and late nights. One former employee admitted the egg section was often checked only once per shift, unless there was a visible spill. That means cracked eggs can sit for hours, slowly leaking across other cartons like some kind of protein-based horror scene. Customer service isn't much better. Reports of shoppers bringing up broken or expired eggs are met with blank stares or half-hearted apologies. In one instance, a customer trying to return an obviously rotten carton was told, "We don't do returns on perishables." That might be store policy, but it's also a convenient way to dodge accountability. And don't let the polished exterior fool you. Just because the floors shine doesn't mean the eggs are clean. In fact, that illusion of order is part of the problem. It makes shoppers less likely to check dates, inspect cartons, or question freshness. Safeway banks on your trust, and quietly cuts corners behind the scenes. The result? A grocery experience that looks better than it is, and eggs that last just long enough to make it out of the store, but not much longer. Coming up next, the biggest name in retail, and maybe the biggest egg-related letdown of them all. Number 1, Walmart, the king of cheap eggs and costly consequences. If Safeway is guilty of quiet neglect, Walmart is guilty of being loudly, massively careless. It's the biggest grocery retailer in America, which means when Walmart cuts corners on egg quality and safety, the ripple effect isn't just big, it's nationwide. And those always low prices come with hidden costs that can hit your health faster than a 90-second microwave scramble. In a 2021 quality audit across 12 states, Walmart eggs had the highest rate of visible cracks, dirty shells, and mold spots on packaging out of all major grocery chains tested. Moldova growing on the outside of the cartons before you even open them. And where there's mold on the outside, you better believe there are problems on the inside. Cracked eggs pose a serious food safety risk. They let bacteria like Salmonella slide right in through the pores of the shell. And according to multiple whistleblowers from Walmart egg suppliers, cracked eggs aren't always discarded. If it wasn't completely shattered, we wiped it and kept it moving, one worker said. Let that sink in. Why does this happen? Because Walmart sources from high-volume industrial suppliers, where the priority is quantity, not quality. Birds are often packed into cages so tightly they can't even turn around. Not only is that inhumane, but it creates stress and higher disease rates, which translates to more contaminated eggs and more broken ones in transit. And it doesn't stop there. Mystery shoppers equipped with temperature guns found Walmart egg displays in multiple locations sitting above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Federal guidelines say eggs must be kept below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything warmer, and bacteria start partying like it's brunch at a casino buffet. One inspector in Texas recorded eggs at 52 degrees, sitting out in an open-air bunker-style display with no fan, no lid, and no concern. And don't be fooled by the Grade A label. The USDA grading system is based on cosmetic appearance, not food safety or nutrition. As long as the shell isn't deformed and the yolk stands up, it passes. But that doesn't tell you whether the egg spent 4 hours in a sweltering truck or if it came from a farm where the cleaning process involves a quick rinse and a prayer. Even Walmart employees have gone public. On Reddit and Glassdoor, staff describe egg deliveries with smashed cartons, sticky messes, and managers instructing them to just pull out the worst ones and stack the rest. Customer complaints echo the same tune: inconsistent sizing, weird smells, cloudy whites, and cartons that leak on the way home. One shopper said their dozen looked like it had been used for batting practice. Another said the yolks flattened instantly on the pan, like they gave up on life halfway through breakfast. So, yes, Walmart eggs might save you $1 today. But if those savings come with a side of bacterial roulette, is it really worth it? Because here's the thing. When a company moves millions of eggs a day, even a small failure in quality control becomes a nationwide food safety problem. And when the focus is speed, volume, and bottom-line pricing, it's easy for those failures to become the norm. Walmart might be the biggest, but in the world of eggs, biggest doesn't mean best. It might just mean the most broken eggshells hidden under a shiny price tag. And that, dear viewer, is your scrambled truth. 6 stores, 6 different kinds of egg-related disaster. From Dollar General's unrefrigerated roulette to Walmart's industrial indifference, it's clear that not all eggs are created or handled equally. If this cracked something open in your brain today, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with someone who still thinks Grade A means something. Because the truth isn't always printed on the label. Sometimes you've got to peel it back and take a good hard sniff. This is Frugal Pro, And we'll see you next time for more hard-boiled truth bombs from the aisles you thought you could trust.